Tensions reach a boiling point as siblings turn against each other. Ji Chunying demands to know if she is seen merely as a burden, sparking a violent confrontation with Ji Chunyi and Madame Niu that leaves a trail of blood and shattered family bonds. With the ties to her family effectively severed, Ji Chunying makes a calculated choice to abandon the wreckage of her former life, heading straight toward the deputy governor's office. In the safety of the deputy governor's residence, Ji Chunying weaves a web of grievances for Xiao Yuanxi, who plays along with her ruse while secretly preparing for the fallout of her inevitable betrayal. In a clandestine meeting, Xiao Hanzheng confronts his father, Xiao Yuanxi, proposing a dangerous alliance to outmaneuver the forces of the previous dynasty. As they discuss the trap involving a fake defense map, Xiao Yuanxi realizes the depth of his son's schemes, recognizing that Xiao Hanzheng is orchestrating a masterclass in deception to protect the realm. Reluctantly agreeing to the plan, Xiao Yuanxi returns to his chambers to prepare the bait, knowing he is being steered by a son who has truly mastered the art of war and politics. Chaos erupts when old lady Xiao and her daughters-in-law storm the residence, venting their fury on the newly arrived Ji Chunying, turning the courtyard into a scene of domestic warfare. The cycle of violence continues as Ji Chunying demands retribution against her brother, ordering servants to strike Ji Chunyi, leaving Ji Chunru to witness the final collapse of her family's unity. With a cold, final rejection, Ji Chunying severs her last ties to Ji Chunru, leaving her sister standing alone in the wake of her calculated ruthlessness. Left with almost nothing, Ji Chunru finds herself evicted and destitute, watching helplessly as the last remnants of her wealth are stripped away by unforgiving creditors. Fallen ill in a lowly inn, Ji Chunru clings to the hope that her brother is still her loyal companion, unaware of the cold, exploitative plans Ji Chunyi and Madame Niu are hatching for her. While her family descends into poverty, Ji Chunying successfully exchanges the fake defense map for a fortune, securing her future while leaving the others to their grim fate. The tables have turned for Ji Chunru, who is now reduced to a servant in her own home, forced to toil in the kitchen while Ji Chunyi and Madame Niu manipulate her into financial submission. When gentle coercion fails, Madame Niu resorts to raw brutality, forcefully asserting her dominance and forcing Ji Chunru into a life of endless labor and embroidery to sustain them. Abandoned by the very brother she sacrificed everything for, Ji Chunru is left trapped in a cycle of abuse, finally realizing that she is nothing more than a tool in the eyes of her kin. Life had turned into a waking nightmare for Ji Chunru. Forced into servitude by Madame Niu and abandoned by her ungrateful siblings, she spent her days under the shadow of a whip, reflecting on the ruinous choices that led her from the comforts of the general's residence to this miserable, broken existence. Driven by a desperate, misplaced hope for redemption, Ji Chunru attempted to win back the heart of the man she once betrayed. She cast aside her dignity, pleading for forgiveness, only to be met with the icy, crushing rejection of Xiao Yuanxi, who had long since turned his love into cold, hard loathing. The final blow was struck by her own flesh and blood. As Ji Chunying looked on from the safety of the carriage, she offered no comfort, only biting insults, cementing the painful reality that Ji Chunru had sacrificed everything for people who viewed her only as a tool to be discarded. The masks were stripped away as Ji Chunying revealed her true, callous nature. She mocked her sister for her past devotion, declaring that she had rightfully claimed Xiao Yuanxi for herself, leaving Ji Chunru to finally understand the depth of her sister's treachery. While the tragedy of the sisters unfolded, Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo analyzed the geopolitical board. They observed the ripples of retribution, noting that the cycle of karma was beginning to catch up to the wicked, just as they prepared to lure their enemies into a deadly trap. With the dark fate of Ji Chunying sealed by her own cruelty, Xiao Hanzheng moved to execute his plan. By weaponizing his own father's cold-blooded tactics, he aimed to provoke the forces of the previous dynasty into a premature, fatal confrontation at the border. The trap was set. Xiao Yuanxi would use Ji Chunying as a pawn to bait the enemy, fully prepared to break her physically and silence her completely, ensuring that the wheels of vengeance would turn without mercy until the final objective was achieved. The reunion was not one of warmth, but of reckoning. Xiao Yuanxi delivered Ji Chunying to the coachman, who had been waiting to exact his long-simmering revenge for the death of his son, leaving her at the mercy of a man who now despised her existence. Without a backward glance, Xiao Yuanqi abandoned his former companion to her fate. He closed the door on her agony, effectively finishing his use of her and ensuring that her physical capacity to betray him or speak of their past secrets was permanently destroyed. Broken, muted, and discarded, Ji Chunying found herself in a desolate woodshed. The realization finally took hold that she had never been a player in this game, but merely a piece of meat thrown to the wolves, now facing a future of absolute despair. The opening of the winery brought unexpected interest from the Ji Kingdom. The North Prince, hiding his identity behind a thick beard, found himself captivated by Shi Qingluo's brew, declaring his intent to seize both the wine and its brewer by any means necessary. When the news of the North Princess' arrogant proclamation reached Xiao Hanzheng, his protective instinct surged. He recognized the adversary not as a simple barbarian, but as a cunning strategist who had come in search of both ancient treasure and a dangerous prize. Together, the couple plotted their countermove. They would turn this capture attempt on its head, aiming to lure the Ji Kingdom's fabled god of war into a trap from which he would not escape, transforming a threat into a monumental bargaining chip for their nation. Driven by the need for survival, a broken and disfigured Ji Chunying returned to her sister. Despite her condition, her manipulative nature persisted, setting the stage for a final, toxic confrontation between the siblings who had once built their lives on the ruins of others. Pushed past the point of endurance by the constant abuse and the gloating betrayal of her sister, Ji Chunru reached a final, dark clarity. In the dead of night, she decided that the only way to end the cycle of torment was to burn the past to the ground. As the fire consumed the house and the lives of her oppressors, Ji Chunru chose her own exit. Having finally exacted a horrific vengeance, she succumbed to her own poison, leaving behind a legacy of regret and the bitter, ashes-choked memory of a family destroyed by their own sins. In the cold aftermath of the Ji siblings' demise, Xiao Hanzheng uncovers a secret that defies expectations. While the world forgets Madame Niu, those buried in the field reveal a hidden thread leading to the North Prince's own house. The mastermind behind the funeral rites was none other than the biological mother of the deceased, a woman who survived a river crossing only to emerge as a powerful concubine in the Ji Kingdom. Ambitious and ruthless, the concubine treats her own children as stains on her reputation. As Xiao Hanzheng analyzes the geopolitical threat, he concludes that for now, the wolf mother will keep her claws retracted, fearing the exposure of her past. A high-stakes buffet draws the elite and the dangerous to Northern City. As Shi Qingluo showcases her culinary prowess and rare vintages, hidden observers from the western regions and the Ji Kingdom watch with covetous eyes. The North Prince, draped in the guise of a merchant, finds himself captivated by the food and the wine, and more importantly, by the woman who created them. He resolves to add Shi Qingluo to his collection of prizes. As the North Prince leaves the restaurant, he locks eyes with Shi Qingluo. He sees a rare treasure to be plundered, while she perceives a predator whose downfall is all but inevitable. The North Prince attempts to charm Shi Qingluo with offers of wealth, but he underestimates the sharp edge of her tongue and the depth of her disdain for his violent history. With blistering honesty, Shi Qingluo rejects him, calling him ugly and burly to his face. The North Prince, stunned by her audacity, feels a twisted surge of interest rather than fury. Safe in the arms of Xiao Hanzheng, Shi Qingluo demands retribution. Her husband vows that the North Prince will pay a heavy price for daring to gaze upon her as if she were a commodity. As preparations for a secret treasure hunt begin, Shi Qingluo encounters secondary consort Hua in a tea house. A sudden, staged accident creates the privacy needed for a desperate, whispered warning. Secondary consort Hua reveals the impending ambush awaiting Shi Qingluo during the treasure hunt. She pleads not for her own life, but for the safety of her son, sensing that the house of Prince Jin is doomed to fail. Risking everything, the concubine offers classified information in exchange for a promise of mercy for her child. Shi Qingluo must decide if this is a genuine defection or a masterful trap. Back at home, Xiao Hanzheng analyzes the intelligence provided by secondary consort Hua. The stakes are raised as they recognize that the treasure hunt is a cover for a deadly confrontation. On a remote mountain, Prince Jin and his allies unearth an ancient iron gate, convinced they are close to reclaiming a lost fortune. Unbeknownst to them, Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo follow closely in the shadows. As the iron door groans open, Prince Jin issues silent orders for the elimination of his rivals. The treasure lies ahead, but so does a trap designed to seal the fates of everyone involved. Deep within the bowels of the earth, the path to the forbidden treasure lies blocked by a massive iron gate. The princess of the previous dynasty speaks with a soft, chilling grace, warning that any forced entry would trigger a lethal collapse, trapping everyone in a silent tomb. Fate intervenes as the cavern echoes with footsteps. Xiao Hanzheng and Shi Qingluo arrive, not as rescuers, but as willing captives. Their calm demeanor and strange lack of resistance leave Liang Yujun deeply unsettled, sensing a trap behind their surrender. To the bewilderment of all present, Shi Qingluo mocks the gravity of the situation with a performative act of fake submission. Her display of blatant insincerity serves as a sharp contrast to the cold, calculating ambitions of the princess. With their hands bound, the captives are dragged deeper into the labyrinth. The group proceeds cautiously, relying on a hidden map of ancient mechanisms to deactivate the lethal traps that line the corridor. Tragedy strikes when a misstep triggers a hidden pressure plate. A torrent of arrows claims the lives of those in the vanguard, prompting the cold-blooded princess to execute the surviving trap master for his fatal incompetence. While the others fear for their lives, Xiao Hanzheng remains focused. He meticulously memorizes the layout of the mechanisms, understanding that this knowledge will be his greatest weapon when the final confrontation unfolds. The final obstacle falls. The heavy iron door grinds open, revealing a hidden chamber. As the darkness is banished by the glow of ancient, long-dormant torches, the stage is set for the ultimate prize to be revealed. The inner chamber is a glittering abyss of forgotten wealth. Piles of gold, rare pearls, and ancient artifacts stretch across the room, driving the ambition of those who seek to fund their own rebellions. The veneer of cooperation shatters. Greed consumes the allies as they immediately turn on one another, each claiming the right to possess the mountain of riches, leaving the air heavy with the threat of bloodshed. Just as the chaos ignites, a new player enters the fray. The North Prince emerges from the shadows, his presence turning the confrontation into a three-way standoff, revealing that the true master of the game has arrived. The past returns to haunt the present. The princess from the previous dynasty realizes with horror that the man she once abandoned, her supposed husband, is none other than her greatest enemy, the North Prince. Allegiances shift as Zhuo Jun abandons her mother's side. The daughter of the conspiracy reveals her true colors, seeking the protection and acknowledgement of the powerful warrior who has been orchestrating this moment from the beginning. Xiao Hanzheng calmly unravels the web of lies. By connecting the threads of intelligence and the North Prince's secret machinations, he forces the true architect of the conflict to reveal himself, effectively neutralizing the element of surprise. Disillusioned by her mother's coldness and manipulations, Zhuo Jun finds an unsettling comfort in her father's brutal honesty. She embraces her role in the scheme, knowing that her path to power lies with the man who raised her. The North Prince attempts a final, calculated power move. He offers Xiao Hanzheng a seat of power in his kingdom, hoping to turn a formidable intellect into an asset. But his attempt is met with a resolute, unwavering loyalty to Daliang. With dialogue exhausted, steel rings out against steel. The tension explodes into a brutal three-way conflict, as the princess from the previous dynasty and Liang Yujun realize that only a temporary alliance against their common foe can ensure their survival. The tides of war shift decisively. The North Princess reinforcements sweep in, systematically dismantling the defenses of his rivals. It becomes clear that he was never truly a guest here, but the silent hunter of the entire operation. Thinking he has won, the North Prince treats his captured rivals as mere collateral, planning to use them as hostages to secure his escape with the mountain of treasure, confident that his plan is finally complete. The final reveal stuns the gathered conspirators. Prince Yi arrives with his own forces, proving that the rumors of his departure to the border were merely a ruse. The game shifts, and the hunter realizes he has become the prey. The trap is closed. The North Prince, along with the pretenders, finds himself caught in a masterclass of misdirection. As the dust of conflict settles, it is clear that the true victor of this day was the one who played the long game. Just as the North Prince believes he has cornered his rivals, Prince Yi emerges from the shadows, revealing that he has been the true hunter all along. The air is thick with betrayal and the weight of hoarded riches, while the North Prince realizes his plan to seize the treasure has been turned against him. In a sudden eruption of violence, the North Prince lunges for a hostage, but his path is blocked by the swift, precise steel of Xiao Hanzheng. With their bonds cast aside, the couple proves they were never truly prisoners, but rather waiting for the perfect moment to reveal their hidden strength. The battle ends as swiftly as it began, with the supposed god of war now at the mercy of the man he dismissed as a weak scholar. Surrounded by their enemies, the couple stands tall, revealing that they were always the true masters of this game, armed with both martial prowess and lethal, unseen poisons. Desperation drives the conspirators to a new low as Yuo Jun seizes Prince Jin, hoping to use the royal bloodline as a shield. Yet, the leverage proves fickle, as the internal rot within Prince Jin's own household begins to surface. The tide turns with a strike of a golden hairpin. Secondary consort Hua, long the victim of Prince Jin's cruelty, enacts her final vengeance, piercing her oppressor before turning the blade upon herself to escape his chains forever. As poison courses through Prince Jin, the scene descends into chaos. The collapse of the prince forces the victors to shift their strategy, knowing that a living hostage is worth far more than a corpse in the delicate politics of the northern border. With cold pragmatism, Xiao Hanzheng works to stabilize the dying Prince Jin, knowing his survival is essential for the political reshuffling ahead. The act of mercy is purely strategic, a means to ensure the stability of the North while the power of the rebels is dismantled. In the quiet moments after the storm, Yuo Jun seeks closure, only to be met with the harsh truth of her irrelevance in Xiao Hanzheng's heart. He reveals the methodical way he uncovered her identity, leaving her with the bitter reality of her failed ambition and unrequited love. But defiance remains in the cornered embers of the previous dynasty. With a final, desperate act, the princess triggers a hidden mechanism, threatening to bury all the victors in the tomb of her ancestors, ensuring that if she cannot have the treasure, no one shall. The princess's trap is meant to be a grave for all, yet she underestimates the brilliance of her captor. Xiao Hanzheng, having memorized the shifting patterns of the tomb, leads the party through the path of death with an eerie, composed mastery. As the treasures of the past are hauled into the light, the tide of history shifts in favor of the current empire. The fortune that was meant to ignite rebellion now serves to strengthen the hand of Prince Yi, securing his dominance in the northern territory. Behind the scenes, Xiao Hanzheng binds the life of the broken prince, leaving him to endure the living hell of his own making. The tragedy of secondary consort Hua lingers, her sacrifice having laid the groundwork for a future free from Prince Jin's malice. The layers of the prince's corruption are stripped away as the history of a stolen life comes to light. It is a tale of arrogance met with patient, icy retribution, confirming that while the prince thought he was playing the game, his own household had long been preparing for his fall. Prince Yi maps out the final blow, a plan to elevate the son of the woman who destroyed the prince from within. By systematically dismantling the power of Prince Jin's house while pretending to offer mercy, they ensure the northern border returns to imperial control without a drop of unnecessary blood. The chess game continues beyond the local borders. Knowing that the capture of the North Prince will likely provoke a desperate attack from the Ji Kingdom, the trio prepares to turn the enemy's own aggression into their ultimate undoing. A bond of trust has been forged in the fires of this conspiracy. No longer just a magistrate and a prince, they stand as the architects of a stable empire, their combined brilliance ensuring that the shadows of the past will not return to haunt the throne. As the final embers of the conspiracy die out, the couple looks toward the future. With the treasure recovered and their enemies silenced or neutralized, they stand as the quiet, untouchable power behind the throne, the lucky stars of a new and safer Dalian. The news of the betrayal and death of secondary consort Hua hit Liang Minjiu like a physical blow. Alone in his quarters, the weight of his mother's hidden life and the finality of her actions left him shattered, forcing him to choose between his father's legacy and an uncertain, perilous future. Awakening to a broken body, Prince Jin found his arrogance stripped away. Confronted by his half-brother Prince Yi, he learned of his condition, a permanent weakness that mocked his past ambitions, leaving him trapped in a fragile frame while his former ally, Xiao Hanzheng, watched on. 3 days later, the truth was laid to rest. Liang Mingyu arrived alone, his appearance disheveled by grief. As he reached the final resting place of secondary consort Hua, the cold wood of the coffin offered the only comfort for the son she had schemed so desperately to protect. The final goodbye was brief and poignant. Liang Mingyu paid his respects, the weight of his decision now settling upon him. With the seal of the coffin, the past closed its doors, and he turned to Xiao Hanzheng, ready to align himself with the only men who could offer him a path forward. In the belly of the residence, father and son stood on opposite sides of a widening chasm. Prince Jin, frail and unable to act, could only muster rage, his threats of disinheritance sealing his own fate and pushing Liang Mingyu firmly into Prince Yi's camp. The web of power shifted as Prince Yi systematically dismantled the influence of the imperial consort. When she dared to strike out in blind fury, she found herself not met with submission, but with a chilling, calculated threat that struck at the very core of her secret, scandalous life. The retribution was as poetic as it was ruthless. Liang Yulin forced the disgraced imperial consort into a life of perpetual penance, turning her luxurious lifestyle into a cage of scriptures and cold incense, effectively erasing her power by exposing the rot of her private moral failures. The scandal broke like a storm over Northern City. As Prince Yi revealed the sordid truths of the imperial consort's hidden companions, the foundation of Prince Jin's authority crumbled, leaving him to faint in utter despair as he realized his family's honor had been irrevocably stained. Within the two-family estate, the atmosphere turned grim. As the reality of their patron's downfall settled in, Madame Tu and Tu Lihuan began to plot, realizing that their own survival depended on desperate, opportunistic maneuvers to align with the new power in the region. Desperation grew within the Tu household. Master Tu, realizing their influence was tied to a broken Prince Jin, pushed his son toward a new target, Xiao Bailey. He saw marriage not as a union, but as a strategic anchor to keep their family afloat in the shifting currents of Northern City. Aware of the two families' machinations, Shi Qingluo and Xiao Hanzheng stood ready. Rather than recoiling, they chose to trap the predators in their own web. Shi Qingluo devised a sharp, multi-layered counter-strategy, ensuring that anyone targeting the family would find only a bitter, stinging defeat. A trip to the temple became the stage for the two families' planned encounter. Unaware of the trap laid for them, Xiao Bailey traveled under the protection of Zai Rui and Xiao Erlang, moving directly toward a confrontation that would test her newfound strength and wisdom. In the crowded dining hall of the temple, the tension was palpable. Xiao Bailey shared a modest meal with Zai Rui and her brother, her grounded nature a stark contrast to the performative luxury expected by the aristocratic families watching them from afar. The arrival of Tu Lihuan and his sister, Tu Yujiao, was anything but coincidental. With practiced social grace, they attempted to bridge the distance, hiding their disdain behind masks of friendliness as they initiated the first phase of their calculated social courtship. Armed with Shi Qingluo's lessons, Xiao Bailey refused to play the role of the submissive girl. She dismantled Tu Yujiao's false sisterly affection with sharp honesty, causing the polished mask of the Tu family to slip in front of their observing peers. The slight to the Tu family ignited the indignation of their hangers-on. As these arrogant young ladies demanded an apology from Xiao Bailey, they failed to realize they had stepped into the middle of a trap, handing Xiao Bailey the perfect opportunity to expose their petness to the entire hall. The confrontation turns heated as Xiao Bailey systematically dismantles the haughty insults of the aristocratic ladies. With calm, biting logic, she highlights their rudeness and asserts her own superior social standing, leaving them speechless and burning with indignation. Not one to stay silent, Zai Rui unleashes his legendary venomous tongue. He mocks the young master's low status and lack of breeding, openly declaring that they aren't even fit to be his servants in the capital, effectively silencing the opposition. As the aristocratic crowd crumbles under the weight of his mockery, Zai Rui asserts his dominance, reminding them that his connections to the magistrate and Prince Yi make him untouchable. One by one, the prideful young ladies are forced to retreat, their reputations shattered by their inability to best him in a war of words. Humiliated but not defeated, the two siblings retreat to plot a desperate revenge. They hatch a scheme to ruin Xiao Bailei's reputation by forcing a public scandal at the temple's famous fish pond, hoping to entrap her in a compromising situation. Oblivious to the shadows lurking nearby, Xiao Bailey and her companions enjoy a rare moment of peace by the water. Zai Rui watches Xiao Bailey with an uncharacteristic softness, his focus entirely on her as they feed the fish. The trap is set. Tu Lihuan and Tu Yujiao maneuver their accomplices into position, waiting for the precise second to push Xiao Bailey into the water. They are confident that this act of heroism will force her hand into a marriage they control. Greed and vengeance drive Miss Lu to execute the plan, but Xiao Bailey's intuition saves her. She steps aside at the last moment, causing Miss Lu to plummet into the fish pond, much to the horror of the conspirators. Seizing the chaos, Zai Rui intervenes. Seeing Tu Lihuan's opportunistic intent, he gives the young master a shove, sending him splashing into the water alongside the woman he intended to save, effectively turning their scheme against them. The crowd erupts as Tu Lihuan is forced to drag Miss Lu to safety, their wet clothes clinging together. Zai Rui immediately fans the flames, calling out their supposed secret romance and insisting that the young master must now take responsibility for ruining her honor. Humiliation deepens when the mother of Miss Lu's fiancé appears, having been tipped off by Zai Rui's men. She publicly condemns the pair for their public display of intimacy and storms off, declaring the betrothal severed, leaving the reputation of the Tu and Lu families in ruins. When Miss Lu desperately attempts to blame Xiao Bailey for the disaster, Xiao Bailey refuses to be a victim. She delivers a sharp slap, her voice ringing out as she declares that she will not be the scapegoat for their own immoral plotting. The confrontation reaches a fever pitch. Xiao Bailey's unyielding strength shocks the nobles who expected a timid girl. Tu Lihuan, cornered and disgraced, is left staring at the woman he once thought he could easily manipulate, now realizing she is far more dangerous than he imagined. Back in Northern City, the family gathers to address the insult. Shi Qingluo, ever the protector, decides that a direct lesson is required for the families who dared to scheme against Xiao Bailey, setting her sights on the Lu and Tu houses. In the quiet of the night, Shi Qingluo shares her keen observation of Zai Rui's growing affection for Xiao Bailey. Xiao Hanzheng, ever the supportive brother, considers the possibility with favor, noting that Zai Rui would be a far better partner than the manipulative options they have previously seen. The following day, Shi Qingluo wastes no time in probing Zai Rui. She confronts him with pointed questions about his future and the pressure of marriage, testing his intentions towards Xiao Bailey, while the young man remains blissfully unaware of her matchmaking motives. In an unexpected turn of events, Shi Qingluo probes the notoriously playful Zai Rui about his future as a husband. To the surprise of everyone present, the young man reveals a surprisingly grounded and tender perspective, valuing companionship over traditional patriarchal control. As Zai Rui speaks of his desire to travel and share life's joys with his future wife, the atmosphere in the room shifts. Xiao Bailey, once indifferent, begins to see the young man in a completely different, much warmer light. The interrogation concludes with Zai Rui expressing his disdain for the chaos of concubinage and his preference for a single, cherished partner. Shi Qingluo is thoroughly impressed, realizing that beneath the facade of a spoiled tyrant lies an excellent husband-to-be. With the questioning over, Shi Qingluo decides to pay a visit to the Lu family to settle old scores. When Zai Rui attempts to follow, he finds himself hilariously detained by the protective and slightly jealous King Yi. Meanwhile, the Lu family remains blissfully unaware of the storm heading their way. In their arrogance, they plot to ruin Xiao Bailey's innocence, hoping to use her as a pawn to secure their status with the powerful. The facade of the Lu family's security is shattered when Shi Qingluo marches directly into their inner sanctum. Her arrival is not just a visit, it is an ultimatum, and she has come to dismantle their malicious schemes piece by piece. Faced with the Lu family's insolence, Shi Qingluo demands respect for her status and confronts them with their own vile plans. She refuses to let their insults against her family slide, marking the beginning of their downfall. True to her word, Shi Qingluo orders the guards to break the leg of the Lu family's son as punishment for his disgusting designs on her sister-in-law. The violence is swift, and serves as a brutal warning to all who oppose them. Shi Qingluo masterfully sows seeds of discord between the Lu and Tu families, revealing how the Lu daughter was merely a pawn used for someone else's gain. The air in the mansion thickens with realization and impending resentment. With the Lu family humiliated and their alliances fractured, Shi Qingluo departs with her head held high. The message is clear. Those who dare touch her family will pay a price they cannot afford. Back on the road, the bond between the two women strengthens. Shi Qingluo encourages Xiao Bailey to be bold and unapologetic, teaching her that her happiness is worth more than hollow reputations. The talk turns to the future. Xiao Bailey admits her growing feelings for Zai Rui, realizing that a life of shared travel and joy is exactly what she wants, and that the young man's affection for her is becoming increasingly obvious. While the sisters-in-law plan their future, the reputation of the Tu and Lu families continues to crumble under the weight of scandal. Tu Lihuan, trapped by the consequences of his own schemes, finds himself drowning in public ridicule. The social pressure explodes into physical violence when Tu Lihuan is cornered by a betrayed suitor. The fight leaves him broken, mirroring the state of his family's influence in the region. Desperate to secure her future, Tu Yujiao attempts one final, elaborate plot to capture the attention of King Yi. She stages a rescue scenario, but her lack of genuine insight into the king's character leads her into a trap of her own making. The king sees right through the deception, refusing to play the part of the heroic savior. As the caravan moves on, leaving her in the dust, Tu Yujiao realizes with growing horror that her grand plan has failed, leaving her exposed and powerless.